Pixel 9 Pro XL, vivo X100 Pro, or the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Which one of these three phones has the best flagship Android camera experience? Well, I've done the testing, 500 sample, and 3 days later, here we have it. I might have an answer for you, but you might not like it. So let the battle begin. Hi, I'm Arshad. You're watching Trakin English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. Now let's take a look at the camera specs first. The vivo X100 Pro has the largest 1-inch sensor among the three. As for the S24 Ultra and the Pixel 9 Pro XL, you get a 1x1.3-inch sensor, which are also fairly large. Now for zoom, on the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, you get a 3x camera and you also get a 5x camera. To do this without having the kind of camera bump that the vivo X100 Pro and the Pixel 9 Pro XL has is fantastic. In comparison, the vivo X100 Pro has a 4.3x periscope and the Pixel 9 Pro XL has a 5x periscope. On the rear, finally, you also get a higher resolution ultra-wide angle camera on the Pixel and Vivo compared to Samsung, which is also true for the selfie cameras on these three phones. Let's move on and take a look at the camera samples themselves. And all these three phones are running the latest update as of shooting this video, that is basically the August update. Now starting off with the primary camera, the X100 Pro's larger sensor definitely captures more details than Samsung and Pixel. Now between Samsung and Pixel, detail retention is largely similar, but Samsung does offer sharper textures without overdoing the over-sharpening. The ultra-wide camera on the Pixel and Samsung are sharper and more detailed compared to Vivo, which is when we have to talk about the fact that megapixels don't matter. With a 12MP camera, Samsung's ultra-wide is doing a good job. Alright, now let's take a look at the zoom performance next. Now starting with the 2x in-sensor crop, Vivo definitely benefits from the larger primary sensor because you get way more details. Pixel is the second best here, followed by Samsung. At 3x, Samsung's optical lens definitely beats the Vivo and Pixel in terms of details. But between Pixel and Vivo, Pixel does a better job here. At 4.3x or 100mm of Vivo's optical zoom lens, this is where Vivo starts getting better and better. It's a no-brainer that Vivo beats Samsung and Pixel, which come in second and third respectively. It's quite a seesaw that's happening, right? Now at 5x, Samsung's optical zoom beats the other two, but Vivo comes in a close second here, followed by Pixel. At 10x, Vivo comes out on top, followed by Samsung and then Pixel. At 30x, it's the same, Vivo beats the other two. And this is the max zoom limit for the Pixel, by the way, so Pixel's out of the competition, and you can zoom further up to 100x on Vivo and Samsung, and surprise, surprise, Vivo beats Samsung at 100x. Here's another fun fact. After 5x, every zoom sample that we took at 10x and 30x, both were enhanced by Zoom Enhance on the Pixel 9 Pro XL, which means that Pixel did get an advantage and yet it lost to Vivo, which also shows that despite using the best software trickery, real hardware will always beat the best software. Alright, now moving on to HDR, actually let's start with the medium dynamic range. All the three are absolutely top class here, but Samsung is closest to natural HDR if you look at it. It does it really well. Now when you move to high dynamic range scenes, things get very interesting again. All the three have done good HDR, but Vivo could have packed more details in the shadows if you ask me. Pixel's new HDR Plus pipeline is pretty good too, but I feel it picks out too much detail from the shadows for it to be a true representation. The contrast is kind of missing here and the picture looks slightly flat. Samsung once again maintains a good balance of highlight control and shadow detail retrieval. You know what I was constantly feeling when shooting with the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra is that this is a different camera setup than one that was in the phone when it launched. In fact, the August update seems to be doing wonders for the phone, and you'll hear more of this in due course of the video. By the way, which brings me to the point that we keep testing these phones constantly to figure out what kind of updates have come in, are they improving in performance? So your subscription will help us out a lot. Now talking about the colors captured by these three phones, they're more or less good. Of course, there are some inconsistencies with white balance once in a while, but they're all very capable phones. In the first sample of this excellent pulled lamp that I had at Elephant & Co, the Galaxy S24 Ultra gets the colors spot on. Pixel has a slight red cast and Vivo has a heavier one. Now in the second image, except for the reds, Pixel and Samsung are nearly identical if you look at it. Pixel gets the reds in the pachinko book right here. And when you look at Vivo, it's slightly off with the color reproduction, but it's not entirely off the mark either. So I'm not giving too much importance to the color reproduction because they can be easily fixed in post. But I must mention this, Vivo does have, three different modes or three different color modes for shooting pictures. You get the Zeiss Vivid, Zeiss Natural, and you also get a textured mode. Now, if you want to shoot macros, the Super Macro on Vivo is excellent. And even the Galaxy S24 Ultra can go closer than the Pixel. So Vivo is better than Samsung, is better than Google in this scenario. You know, the biggest change with Samsung this year is that the company is nailing skin tones. Just look at the skin tones here. With the primary camera, Vivo's skin tones are slightly brighter, but these two are almost matched. Pixel gets it entirely wrong. Like I said, with brown skin tones, there is a problem with the pixel tuning. And that is also true when you take a look at the 5x shot and the skin tones are completely messed up on Google. Vivo skin tone is the most accurate with the telephoto, followed by Samsung, which is nearly as good. And you know what? If you do 100% crop of these samples and you take a look at the vivo X100 Pro shot, oh my goodness, look at the amount of details it has pulled. I can literally see every strand of hair in Arnav's beard, which I really don't want to, but I can. Now, when you're shooting friends and family against the light, I don't like Vivo here. It tends to brighten a bit too much. It doesn't look very natural to me, which, by the way, Samsung is absolutely good at, followed by Pixel. Moving on to portraits, I've established here I'm not a fan of Pixel's portrait shots because firstly, it shoots at 1.5x to 3x. It doesn't use either the 1x or the 5x camera, both of which are the hardware used by the phone itself. And secondly, the edge detection is generally off and the skin tones are not that great either. Between Samsung and Vivo, Vivo does it better than Samsung. Of course, Samsung's pretty good too, but Vivo's portrait mode is absolutely excellent. Primarily because you get these different focal lengths which are simulating a DSLR camera. So you get 24mm, 35mm, 50mm, 85mm and 100mm. And all of these shots are absolutely usable. Not just usable, they look really good. And more importantly, you get all of these Zeiss portrait lens simulations as well. Alright, now moving on to selfies, Samsung and Pixel's selfies out here are almost indistinguishable. But if you had to pick one winner out of these two, it would be Samsung, of course followed by Vivo and then Pixel. Now in HDR selfies, Samsung, Vivo offer better highlight control without losing contrast on the face compared to Pixel. But this is only visible when you pixel peep, otherwise all three are almost equally good. In portraits, once again, I have no doubt that selfie portraits on Vivo are the best. It's just unbelievably good at depth mapping and semantic segmentation. Samsung is the second best, and we already know Pixel is struggling with portraits, so it does with selfie portraits as well. Alright, moving to these low light comparison shots taken off the outdoors. The details captured by the primary camera of the X100 Pro are obviously higher because it uses a larger sensor. Samsung is the second best, followed by Vivo. In ultra low light situations like these, Pixel does get the white balance correct here, but when you pixel peep, you notice that it is not as sharp as Samsung or Vivo. Vivo obviously pulls out more details thanks to the sensor size. Samsung uses a very nice sharpening algorithm and it makes up for that sensor size difference between Samsung and Vivo. Seriously, Samsung's August update has done some magic on the phone. In ultra wide low light shots, Vivo has a clever use of sharpening to compensate for the lack of a good sensor, so it looks better than Samsung, but in general, Pixel's ultrawide is consistently better than Samsung and Vivo, so Pixel would be best for ultrawide low-light shots, followed by Vivo and then Samsung. Now when it comes to low-light zoom, Vivo again is superior, but that's post 4.3x though. So the 2x in-sensor crop is for some odd reason not as good as Samsung or the Pixel. 3x on Samsung is the best, which is expected. Pixel would be the second best here, followed by Vivo. But 4.3x onwards, it's Vivo through and through, and Samsung would be the second best here. So 4.3x, 5x and 10x, Vivo wins. Now when you're shooting low light selfies, I would suggest if you're using a Vivo phone, just don't use that night mode because in extreme low light, it brightens the face and it looks really odd. But if you use a regular mode, just take a look at the quality of the selfie. You get more details, you get better skin tones, and it's just better than the other two phones here. The second best would be Samsung, which is also very, very good. And finally, it would be Pixel, which is not as good as the other two. Alright, moving on to 4K 60fps video recording. Vivo has slightly higher audio and video bitrate capture, but that doesn't necessarily translate to better video quality. Samsung has the best video quality. It has best stabilization and best sound recording among the three. Pixel would be the second choice here. Alright, so now we're recording a video on all the three phones at 4K 60fps using the primary camera. This is what these sound like, and what you're seeing is us walking with these phones right now. We'll start running slightly to see the stabilization. The same is true for ultra-wide angle video recording quality, where Samsung comes on top, followed by Pixel and then Vivo. But Vivo makes up for that by doing excellent zoom videography. So in zoom, Vivo has the smoothest zoom experience compared to the other two, and while it can shoot only up to 10x, it has the best quality overall. Pixel is the second best and can go up to 20x, and Samsung comes in last here. But in selfie videos, Samsung pulls back a win with excellent video sharpness, HDR tuning, sound recording, and well, Vivo comes in second here. Pixel struggles here with the skin tone accuracy and details in the footage. Now, in low light video recording, Pixel does have an advantage with night sight video. So you really get very good exposure, But what I noticed is that Vivo does it by default with the hardware, so details are better on Vivo. So low light video recording is actually best on Vivo. Samsung's low light video recording is one area where Samsung definitely needs to improve with the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. Now finally, talking about the camera app experiences, I think Samsung's UI is the easiest to use and it's got a decent layout. Plus, it's got some really nice tricks for you to do so that you can switch between cameras as well. Pixel's camera UI would be my second favorite, followed by Vivo, which does have a bit of a clunky UI. Now, all of these three phones also do offer a plethora of camera features and functions, and it's really difficult to tell the three apart in terms of which one's doing the most. But let me tell you two of my favorite features on each of these phones, right? So on Vivo, it's easily the Zeiss style portrait lenses and the different long exposure options that you get. And on Samsung, it's expert RAW and portrait video. And finally, on Pixel, it has to be Add Me and Magic Editor's Reimagine function, but then again, you have to go into the Photos Editor app and do it. So within the camera app itself, it's only Add Me. Now, after testing these phones, my experience might have hit a bit of a roadblock. And that's primarily because I'm finding it very difficult to crown one of these phones as the best Android flagship camera experience. But let me tell you what each one of these excels at, starting with the vivo X100 Pro. The X100 Pro continues to shock me with its picture quality. The primary camera's 1-inch sensor captures a great amount of details, and the X100 Pro is the phone that I would choose if I want to shoot people, because the kind of portraits that we can get from it is excellent. And the zoom performance is particularly top class too. That includes zoom videos as well. And it does all of this while being more affordable than the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra and the Pixel 9 Pro XL. Now tell me that the X100 Pro is expensive. Now the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra has to be the most improved camera experience of all year. I was really surprised at what the August update has done for the phone, because I got the most balanced experience with respect to shooting photos and videos both. The color tuning has improved, the HDR performance is really good, even people pictures look damn good now. And the selfies are still best in class if you ask me, and the video quality, especially in daylight, is absolutely exceptional. So all of that initial problems I had with the S24 Ultra, they're being ironed out slowly and steadily, and Samsung's done a good job. So I'm really waiting for what it does with the S25 Ultra. Now where does that leave the Pixel 9 Pro XL? Yes, it's definitely improved from the Pixel 8 Pro, but the competition is far ahead now. And I feel that Google's algorithm needs a retune, and they need to reimagine what a good image is today in 2024. Enough of the fun, Google. Let's get serious. Now that was my analysis, of course, but I would love to know your thought on what you thought of the pictures that were captured from these phones. Now when you test them side by side is when the reality hits you. So definitely take it to the comments. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.